welcome to this edition of Chatting with the Lightkeeper. As always, I am Edward, and you are you. Thank you for joining me this episode. And before we get into the real meat of the episode, I first want to simply ask a favor. Something that is happening to content creators all over Instagram, and not just within the world of BDSM and kink, but across the board, no matter what a creator's niche is. For the most part, we are seeing our content not be seen as much as it used to be. And so I started digging into why. Because obviously I create BDSM lifestyle stuff. My first reaction was, oh crap, I've been shadow banned. I somehow used a new secret naughty word. But what I learned was that it's not that I used a secret naughty word. I am not shadow banned. But the good folks at Instagram have changed how the almighty algorithm gives us content in our feeds. And when I say feeds, that's what happens. You open Instagram and it pops up with a bunch of posts and reels that it thinks you want to see. Not what you said you want to see, or not that I follow these people. So you're going to pop up and show me what the people I've said I'm following are putting out there, but it now thinks it knows better than you. Welcome to the world of AI and social media. So, for example, you yesterday were hopping around Instagram and you liked a lot of puppy and kitten videos. Well, it doesn't matter who you said you want to follow. What it's going to do is go, oh, they like puppies and kittens. I'll show them more of them. And the fix to this is easy, even if you do like puppy and kitten videos. Um, I'll just do a real quick walkthrough, but don't worry, I've got a better solution on how to do this, but we'll just do a quick walkthrough here on the pod um, to start with. On your phone, and this is if you have the latest version, and it is the English version, the version of the app where English is the primary language. You tap your profile picture down on the bottom right, and then the little thing pops up, and you have up in the top right hand corner now. I think Instagram calls it the menu, but it's three horizontal lines, sorry, in the top right. You touch it, opens up another list of options, and you scroll down through that, and you'll find something where it's called Content Preferences. You tap on it, and then it opens up yet another menu. And right at the top, though, it says Your Algorithm. And you give that a touch, and it pops up, and it'll tell you the things that Instagram's almighty algorithm has decided that you like and you want to see. You can add things, you can delete things with a couple touches of the button. And there's an add button, which is really helpful. So let's say you do want to see more lifestyle content. You could type in there and put in DS, BDSM, kink, submissive, or dominant. You can even put in creators. So let's say I'm your favorite creator. Of course, why wouldn't I be? But you can type in chatting with the Lightkeeper, and that tells AI, I want to see these things, not just what you see me click on, because it's very easy for this to become cluttered or overwhelmed. Um, I like to post by Jeremy Clarkson, the English farmer, and suddenly my feed was filled with combines and farming scenes. And I'm like, well, how did this happen? And that's kind of what led me to this discovery. When you like a post, you like a reel, the Instagram AI will decide on your behalf what goes there and what it's going to show you based on that. So, this is a little simple way to take back your algorithm so you don't get Zuckerberged into whatever IG wants to show you. It lets you take your control back. So, with that said, let's sort of, if I had a bell, I'd ring it like a beginning of a boxing match. we will get to the main event now. And the main event, what I would like to talk about, lifestyle related, is the local community. There are some people that I'm sure you've seen the post where they will say you have to get involved in your local community. And we'll basically say if you're not involved in your local community, you're not real. So the first thing, let's address that. No, no, you don't. This is my opinion. You don't have to get involved in your local community. There is not a valid path forward. You don't have to go to in-person events unless you want to. It doesn't make you any less a dominant, any less a submissive, or any less of a just kinky person. It's all about what is comfortable for you. Now, there are some things that I think are absolutely amazing about local communities. And there are also a few things that, if you are going to take that step and tiptoe into in person gatherings, that I want you to be aware of. So, we'll cover some of the good and some of the things to just be aware of. And before we get into that, the most common thing, and I know somebody out there is saying it, well, I live in a smaller city or a small town, and I just know there is nothing near me. And the thing is I live in a small little city. It's under 30,000 people, which maybe for some of you seems like a big town, and it could. But it is for me small. And believe it or not, in this little small city of under 30,000 people, there are two groups that meet monthly here. So basically, 2 out of every 4 weeks, I have local community events that I can go to. So even if you live in a smaller location, it doesn't mean that you are unable to potentially have events. So don't let where you live immediately cause you to rush to judgment. And I'll get into in a little bit the easiest and probably the most accurate way to find an event near you. So, a couple of the things that jump out immediately is if you're considering going to an in person event, why you should. Uh, First and foremost, they let you meet people in your community with similar interest, a similar lifestyle. They can be great places to learn about the lifestyle, from practices to safety, communication, etiquette. Um, a great example is a while back I went to an event and there was a couple there that was new to the lifestyle, and they were really curious to explore how to use a paddle. And an experienced submissive was actually teaching them. And what I found was really great is the educator was started by teaching the submissive how to use the paddle, where to use the paddle, while the dominant was the one with their hands up against the wall, receiving the impacts. And then, of course, they did switch it up. But what I thought was really great is the submissive fully understood of where they should where they should expect impacts and where they should definitely know to not accept, not tolerate an impact. And I thought it was a fantastic lesson and really done well. And it's one that's really sort of stuck with me and is etched in my mind. Now, a little concern to share about in person events is always be aware of how people are acting. You'll occasionally run into, and the bad apples at in person events are very they're rare. They're not It's not a common occurrence. It's not like online where you're really, I mean, you still have to treat everybody just like any stranger, verify their safety, vet them, all of that stuff. But sometimes you'll get people that use their experience or their status to dismiss questions or concerns. For example, oh, they're new. I am not even going to give them the time to answer this question. and that's the opposite of what it should be. And personally, I've always found that people who are new often have fresh insights, new ways of looking at things, and they're fantastic because the old ways aren't always the best ways, and new people bring that perspective. So that's just something to watch for. Another wonderful thing that events allow us to do is that we can build friendships and connections outside of online spaces. You can actually make real in-person friendships. And also, if you're newer, oftentimes something that many people who are new struggle with is they feel isolated and alone, like these kink interest I have. I have to be the only person in the world that wants this or needs this. And going to events allows you to connect with real people from your area who have similar wants and needs. So it definitely helps on the isolation front. So now, unfortunately, it's time to talk about a not so good aspect. And this is, I'm going to call it the dirty secret of in person events, and that's leadership. Most groups will have elections or appoint leaders, or a leader is simply the person who founded, the event or the series of events. Um, so pay particular attention to them because how they lead will tell you a lot about the people and the events that happen. Um, Leaders who ignore complaints or protect certain people that attend from accountability, that is definitely a red flag. Also, leaders, they will treat disagreement as maybe disloyalty or disrespect. Um, Really, those are red flags, but they're the same red flags that you would have, say, in a new boss at work. It's just important to keep that in mind. And the reason why I say it's the dirty secret is the next one. And it's something that more and more, especially submissives, are speaking out on. It's sort of, in a way, it's sort of like a mini kink Me Too movement. There are some leaders out there who have used their positions to prey upon those who are new and then cover their bad behavior, whether it is consent violations to anything under the sun. They are going to toss out there, are you going to believe them? They just started coming to the munch a month ago. I've been leading this group for 10 years. They will use that position of leadership to cover their bad behavior. And once again, just like a boss in your at where you work, where they use their position to influence or to silence people. So be aware of that. And if you're new to any group in person, just use the powers of observation and trust yourself, um, and trust what you're seeing, not just what you see, but what you feel. And just sort of be a fly on the wall, maybe to start, not, engage where you feel comfortable, but also make sure you're making plenty of time to just observe and see how things are going and what you see, and then trust how you feel about that. Now, community events also provide incredible access to experienced people who share their knowledge and their experiences. Um, and that's kind of why I started this podcast to share my experience, to share my knowledge. And you can get that in person from people that you can see, you can talk to, you can ask questions, right there in front of you. Um, Another wonderful thing about local events is you meet people from different relationship styles, different identities, different perspectives, which are all fantastic so that we can view the lifestyle through a broader lens rather than just how we see it. And also, many groups have monthly or some even have weekly classes where you can go and learn something from basics to more advanced techniques who are taught by experienced members from within that group. Um, A great example is rope. While rope is not my jam, learning how to do the ties, how to do things safely, it is a lot of work to learn. And I know in my local little community, there's a subgroup of one of the two groups that meets monthly that gets together to work on this with the being led by a very experienced person who is into rope. So it's a great opportunity for everyone who wants to be able to reach out and sort of touch the learning experience rather than having to take something that you see on YouTube or maybe even in a book and practice it on yourself. You can actually get out and get hands-on instruction from people who want to teach you, not get their hands on you, which is absolutely fantastic. Um, Something real quick to look out for. And this is once again, anytime groups of people get together, there is always somebody, it seems like, especially if it's a bigger group, when you get, say, over 20 people, where somebody in that bigger group wants to be Shakespeare. And when I say they want to be Shakespeare, it means they want drama. They want to turn it into drama club because they thrive on drama. They thrive on gossip. And it's one of those things. So we understand that whenever we have a group, there will always be a Shakespeare. But you just want to be aware that if you go to a group and everybody in the group or most of the people in the group want to be thespians, then that's probably not a good group to get involved in. So just be aware of that and also, understand that bad days happen. So don't necessarily judge a group on one particular evening or event, but give them a couple of chances to view it because maybe you just caught the people there. They majority of the people had a bad day and are just they're just having an Eeyore type of day. So bear that in mind. Now, one of the other wonderful things about an in-person community is when we have challenges within our relationships or struggle understanding something about the lifestyle, we can get help navigating those questions and challenges from real people, and not like calling customer services now where you get an AI bot that sounds human, but you will actually get real humans sharing their real experience, and that can really help us navigate questions or challenges. Um, plus we have new opportunities to learn about things that are new, maybe something we hadn't thought of. And oh, there's a class on this. Boy, I haven't heard about that before. So that would be a good opportunity to socialize and potentially grow as a person and as a kinktastic person. Now, there are really kind of four main sort of groups or four main types of events, not groups, but four main types of events that groups put on. The first is the most common one, and it's the one I would recommend if you're starting out. It's called a munch. It's just like the word lunch, only it starts with M. And it's sort of like came out of um, meal and socialize. Somehow they shortened it to munch to make it kinktastic. But it's a casual, fully clothed public meetup. It's usually in a restaurant, a bar, a pub, and it's just typically a group of fellow lifestylers getting together for dinner and conversation. Sometimes there might be a structured discussion where the people who are hosting it may have a little, like after dinner, where they lead a discussion about maybe consent this week or maybe next week impact play. But more than anything else, it's just a casual place to connect with other people in the lifestyle. Then there are play parties, and these are events where people scene together. And by scene, if you don't know what that means people involved in BDSM or kink actually engage in it. Sometimes it's done educationally, where they're teaching while they're scening. Other times it is just people who are enjoying play and doing so in front of other people. They're often also they're not just like sitting there watching people play, but there's a social aspect, social areas where you can just go and chat. And if you do decide to play there, they often have what are called dungeon monitors. And these are people who monitor what is happening to make sure safe words are respected, limits are respected. So it provides a safe opportunity for people to engage in desires and wants that they have rather than having to potentially meet a stranger and do so in private. And play parties are typically private events. They may happen at a semi-public location like a club. Um, the group has rented out for the night, but only members or only those who are invited or signed up are screened and allowed in. So it's not like somebody is doing a spanking scene and grandma and grandpa walk into the pub to grab a beer while all of this is happening. It's private, limited access, so there is safety there, or many organizations even have their own space for this. Then there are workshops and classes, which pretty straightforward. It's a workshop or it's a class. It's educational, designed around a specific skill or topic, and they're normally taught by people within the that group who are experts in that area. So they are fantastic learning opportunities. In the final one, these are sort of the great big events, and they're conferences or conventions. They're just like any conference you would go to, say, for business. Typically, they're in larger cities. They go over multiple days. They have workshops, they have vendors, they have social events, and can be a great weekend experience. So, those are some of the positives for getting involved in your local community. And also, if you decide to take that step, some of the things just to be aware of. Remember, local communities are not perfect. There are some bad apples, but I honestly believe there are less bad apples in a local community than you would find, say, in a online community where, everyone can be a digital cowboy or cowgirl and hide behind their keyboard and say whatever it is that they want to say with no retribution, where in person, that is much, much harder. Now, some people love them, other people know they're not for them, and that is fine. There is not a universal way. If anybody says you have to do local events, you don't have to. It's what's comfortable for you. There is no right or wrong answer. There's just what works for you. So that is very important to remember that always. Now, if you're curious and you would like to find a local event, I mean, how do you find them? It's not like they're going to be posted, on the local town, what's happening board or any of that stuff. The easiest way to find them is on FetLife, fetlife.com, FETLIFE.com. Now, people have strong opinions on FetLife, uh, so it's not to debate that. But with FetLife, you do need to register. It is free, and you don't have to do anything more than just make up a name and sign up. You don't have to fill in all your profile data and all the other stuff that it'll want you to. You can just pick a name, sign up, and then right at the top, one of the little tabs at the top is called Events. You touch it, you tell it where you want to look for events, whether it's your city or your area, postal code, any of that. You put that in the mileage you want to go for, look within 20 miles, 10 miles, or kilometers if you're, outside of the US where you all use the metric system. You can obviously flip it to that, but you find what's within that range, and then you can learn more about the events and decide whether you want to go or not. And if you're going to go to an event and you're a first timer, it's perfectly okay to reach out to the person who is hosting the event or the people who are hosting it and saying, hey, this would be my first time. What should I expect? And the beautiful thing is most people who host events welcome that and will welcome you in, and they'll want to make sure that you feel safe and protected and make sure that your experience is good. So that is highly recommended, especially if you're newer, to reach out to the person hosting it and letting them know you're coming. And if you do that, please do make sure you follow through and attend or reach out to them prior and say, hey, something came up, I can't, rather than just sort of standing them up and no call, no showing type of thing. So that's what I have this week. So please, with your Instagram, take back control of what you see. And I know the walkthrough at the beginning was brief and quick. Rather than having to go back and replay it, just pop over to my Instagram page. If you don't follow me, Chatting with the Lightkeeper, I have a pin post that will walk you through step by step with screenshots so you can take control of your algorithm and what Instagram shows you. Finally, thank you very much for making the time to sit down and listen. And if you could do me a favor, depending on what platform you are watching or listening to this, tap the like and follow button, or both. Feel free to drop me a comment or send me ideas. All of these things help the podcasting algorithms know I am not just sitting here screaming out into the void, that there are actual people out there who listen and like my comment. So, thank you very much for your time. Feel free to reach out, drop me any questions you have. I'll be very happy to share my thoughts and perspectives with you. You can either send me an email, which will be listed wherever you're listening to this podcast, or the most effective way to DM me is on Instagram, as that is sort of my preferred platform, social media wise. So I look forward to hearing from you. Thank you for the listen, and I look forward to chatting with you again very soon.